Hey, welcome to our live stream. This is Ned from Caspio. I hope everyone's having a good day. If you're able to hear me okay, please let me know in the chat window. And we will begin with today's content. Today's live stream is not going to take that long. Loud and clear? Okay, good to know. Welcome back. Yeah, I think we're going to spend about 15 minutes on today's live stream. We have a very quick topic today on AutoValues. AutoValues, as the name implies, are simply values that are automatically generated upon submission of a web form. And today we're going to look at a few different ways of how we can enhance our web forms and how you might be able to leverage AutoValues for different purposes and needs in your application. It's very helpful if you're looking to track and see how people are finding your website or your landing pages, or if you want to automatically generate a password to have the user receive an email. So we'll take a look at a few examples today on how we can do that. Once again, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Welcome back. I don't know who's here until you guys comment in the chat window, but for those who are coming back to these live streams, again, welcome back. For those who are new to the live stream, we have these every Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning California time, where we pick a topic and we learn something new about Caspio. I also take suggestions in the chat window, so if you guys have something that you would like me to show you in the live stream, please let me know. And if it fits within the 1 hour parameter window that we have, we are going to cover that topic in our live stream. Thank you, thank you. Good to be back. Yeah, it's good to be back. I am juggling a lot of things these days. One of them being the baby. So from one hand to the other. At least the silver lining here is that I think my muscles are getting a little bit stronger from holding the baby. So there's that. All right. So why don't we go ahead and begin with today's content? So I have my live example set up here. I'm going to show you one way to take advantage of the auto value is to populate the source URL. That's one of the auto values that we can generate. So if I look at my table and I click on design mode, so all the information that you see down below, you can automatically generate when you submit the form. So we can get the source URL. So imagine if you have a lot of landing pages to promote your business and you have one Caspio submission form. You can take that one submission form and you can deploy it across multiple web pages. And then when people submit that form, we can automatically grab the URL and store that URL in the table. And now if you think about it, if you build some charts, you can do KPIs, you can see which landing page is performing better than the other. So you can do more marketing around those keywords and that content that you have. The second thing we're going to look at is the IP address. Now, I'm not going to stamp the IP address for privacy, obviously, but I'm going to show you on the form how you can use a dropdown to automatically capture the IP address as soon as somebody submits the form. Then we also have the browser agent, so we can store which browser the user is using when they submit the form. Is it Chrome? Is it Firefox? Opera? What else is it? I don't know. Safari and a few other ones. IE, I think IE is deprecated now, but I'm not really sure if it's still around. I've never used IE myself, maybe a long time ago. And then finally, we're going to look at the password field, but I'm not going to add the password field just now. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. So once you add these fields to your table, on data pages, here's my form. Okay, it's a submission form. We're going to hit next. You can see I have all of these fields inside my form. For now, I'm going to include the IP address as well. Hit next. And then once you reach the source URL field, in this dropdown, you're going to see a special element called auto value, which again, automatically generates a value. And when you select that, you have a couple of options here that you can enable on your form. One of them being a data page host. So when you deploy that data page, you want to grab the host URL. So you select that option, and then you can either do a complete URL that includes the parameters, page URL, or domain name, which is simply just, could be Caspio.com or bankofamerica.com or a different URL. So usually I go with the middle radio button. Then you have the browser agent. So again, that's another auto value that you can select. You select user agent, and I usually just do the browser. So that's stored in my table. And then we have the IP address. And for that, you can select auto value. And then we have the user IP address. Now, if you're going to collect somebody's IP address, then you may want to specify and list that in your privacy policy so people know that you're collecting their location. All right, so we're not going to do the IP address today. We're going to remove that for my own privacy. And then also for the ID field, you know how in the table we can assign a random ID, GUID, auto number to automatically store that value in the table? You can also do the same thing using an auto value and just select random unique ID, either for application use or human use, which you can customize your own ID. I end up going with the application use. It's a much more longer ID and much more secure. So that's another auto value that you can generate. Okay. So now when we hit finish and save our changes, okay, let's go in our table. You will see I have no submissions. Oh, actually, let me delete these so we can submit a few so you can see from the beginning how this works. And here's my form. I have two different web pages. So imagine these are landing pages. I have the same form deployed here, and I also have the same form deployed on this web page. Same exact data page. So when I submit the form, let's just say Susan@test.com. These fields are not required. Let's just hit submit. Okay, so if I set it up correctly, that auto value for source URL will capture that URL and store that in my table. Let's submit the form from this URL. So we'll just say Ken Lee, ken@test.com, and then we'll hit submit. And now back in my table, when I reload the table, you will see date submitted. We have the source URL, okay, captured in my table. IP address, I didn't submit that. And then we know that I'm using Chrome as the browser agent. And you can also see the ID populated as well directly in my table. I'm going to make one more submission. Let's say Barry Jones, Barry@test.com, hit submit. So that we at least have 3. Okay. And then back on the data pages, now what you could do is you can create a chart for some metrics and KPIs. So if I click on edit, so you can see how I did that. I'm using a column chart. Hit next, based off of the inquiries table. Hit next, next. All of this is standard. And then for my y-axis, I am using the source URL because I want to be able to plot all of my URLs on the left-hand side on the y-axis. And then we're just simply doing a count on any one of our fields. And in this case, I have the name field. So it's just going to count how many submissions we receive from each URL. And then on the next screen, I like to sort my data based on the count name so that we can see the highest first all the way down to the lowest. And then we hit preview. And you will see all 3 of those submissions. So 2 came from this URL and 1 came from this URL. Just a simple and fun way to be able to track, where and how people are finding you on the web if you have multiple landing pages, multiple web pages on the web. Okay, I've done this in the past, and it's one of my favorite ways to measure metrics if you have multiple web pages. All right, let me cancel out of that. Now think about this as well. You can also have another chart that shows you based on the browser agent, right? So if your development team is interested in knowing which browsers require most QA or most updates fixing, then you can do a chart that shows you where people are submitting these forms from what browser agent. Okay. Yeah, good way to track various marketing avenues, correct. And if you did the IP address, which I'm not showing you, and if you combine that with the Google map, you can zoom out all the way to the world if you'd like, or maybe just keep it domestic here in the US if I wanted to. You can do a zoom level just on that country. You can pinpoint the location of where those submissions are coming from. So it's just another nice way to track if you're curious of knowing where those submissions are coming from. Okay, the last thing we're going to look at is the password, which I've done in the past as well. So I'm just going to use the same form, and I'll add my password field. Now, in order to go with the use case that I'm going to show you now, you have to leave the password as text255, even though it's recommended that you use the password data type because it's going to be encrypted. But if you want the end user to receive that password in the email, and you want to display that password in the email, then you have to leave it as a text 255 so the user can actually read that in the body of the email. But when they log in using that password, they can change the password to something else. But again, the password will always be exposed as text 255 in your table. I mean, I've done that in the past where I had my passwords as text 255. Your Caspio account has two-factor authentication. You can enable that if you want more security. Again, I will recommend that you go with with password special data type, but I just wanted to show you this as an example if you want to do something like this in the future. So text 255, let's save it. I'll go back to the same form, edit, and I will move my password field to the right. So imagine this becomes a registration form. So auto value, we're going to use a random password. And then you can set your settings here if you want the password to be strong, basic, very strong. It's up to you, completely up to you. You can also mix and match lowercase with uppercase, digits, and special characters if you'd like. Let's hit next. Your submission was successful, and then I would like to enable an email to be sent to the email that the user provides on that registration form, right? And one thing that I've done in the past, under the email field, I will say maybe in the hint, I will say, please provide a valid email to receive your temporary password, something like that. Okay, so we enable the acknowledgement email. We select the email field. We hit next. And then we're going to say the reply email, the from email will be caspio.com, but you can also verify your own email with your own domain, and you can have a custom email here if you'd like. Usually it's no reply at yourcompany.com. Subject line, your password, login information, something like that. And then you can say hi, name, in the body of the email, and you can say here is your temporary password. We recommend that you change it when you log in. Okay, and then you're going to include password, label, if you'd like, colon, and then you include that automatically generated password in the body of the email. And then you'll typically see something like this, company name. All right, so we're going to test this out. Hit finish. So now on that registration form, I am going to use myself as an example. And here is my hint that pops up. And then we'll just say NP, caspio.com, phone number, message, and we'll hit submit. So now I'll just wait to see if I receive that email. Hopefully I do. Let's see. Here it is. I'm just going to open it. And there's my email. So now I can grab that password, copy it, and if I have my authentication set up, I can log into the app and I can go to my settings, and in my settings, I can change that password to something else. Okay, so that's just another example how you can generate a password if you want your end users to provide a legit email, because sometimes when people sign up on these forms, where'd it go? What happened to my, did I hit preview? What happened to my password field? Did I hit preview in Caspio? I might have hit preview. What happened to my, oh, you know what? It's automatically generated, so there is no reason for me to see the password field in the form. Sometimes when people sign up on the registration form, they will provide a bogus email, something that doesn't get delivered anywhere. So I've done that in the past where I just put nettest.com because I want to test the platform. But if you want to make sure your users provide the right email, then you can give them instructions to give you the right email so they can get that password. Okay. Let me open up my YouTube live here. Let me know if there are any questions. I've actually covered off all of the topics for today's live stream. That's the content that I had. If you've not used AutoValues before, there are some helpful things that you can enable there for your applications, especially if you're building a SaaS type solution and you want to do some marketing initiatives around your website with landing pages, which is one of the things that Caspio does. Let me take a look at my questions. Does Caspio have multiple landing pages that use forms similar to this? Great for marketing. So the landing pages will have to be created by you. I'm sure that you can buy some cheap domains out there, and then once you set up your quick landing page, just envision where you plan on putting this form on your landing page. Okay, just embed that form, and then if you're tracking the source URL, you're always going to know where people are, how people are finding you from what landing page. But Caspio does not create landing pages or web pages. You create the functionality in the app in Caspio, and then you will just embed it into a landing page, which I'm sure you already know. So could we tie the IP with Google Maps to say, based on your location, there's a potential client nearby, so the sales rep could call on them? Yeah, you could. So if you're doing some door-to-door selling, and you want to know where people are inquiring from, and you do the IP address, you'll know their location. You won't know their exact location. You'll know the proximity from that IP address, and then you can call them. And if you have a sales rep that's nearby, they can go out there and visit that client or potentially sell something to that client. So that's actually a good idea. Okay, so today was short and sweet. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's live stream. I do wish that you guys would give me some topics for the live stream. So send me an email. Again, here's my email address in the chat window. Do me a favor, just send me an email with a topic, and I will do my best to cover that in the live stream. Okay. We do direct mail. The sales rep is logged. Okay. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I'm trying to find new topics for the live stream. I know that I have a few coming up on directories. By the way, directories is going to come out in a few days. It will be available across multiple plans, just FYI. Okay, so it's going to be available on the trial plan, explorer plan, all the plans. It's going to be limited in terms of features that you're going to get and how many directories you can create, but at least every single plan will have directories. And I plan on doing a live stream surrounding that topic. Also, one thing that I mentioned in the video last time that we did a live stream, I mentioned there's no way to sync the logout link with the directory. In the upcoming release, which is coming out in a few days, it will be synced. So if you use the Caspio logout link, it's also going to simultaneously log you out of the directory as well. How do you get the Caspio pages to show up in SEO? That would be a topic. Okay, I know we used to have, we no longer have it, unfortunately, but we had a deploy method which was SEO. Since it's been deprecated, I don't know, if you're looking at a report full of data, how will Google and Yahoo find that information? That's something I'll have to ask the engineering team to see if there's a workaround. Because I know in the past we had the ability to deploy, and one of the deployment methods was SEO, which made it easier, obviously. But I don't know if you have a report, public-facing report that shows the data, how Google and Yahoo will now be able to find that without the proper deployment method. So it's something I'll have to explore a little bit more on my end. Yeah, let me see if I can find out. Otherwise, if it's a submission form, you can't rely on Caspio. It's going to have to be your own keywords around the submission form. But if it's a report data page that displays Caspio data from the table, that's what I will have to find out from our engineering team, because that data is transposed to the web. So how can Google and Yahoo find that data? If it's a submission form, there's nothing we can do. Nobody can find the submission form, right? Because you'll have your own content around it. But if it's a report, now that's another story. That's something that we should be able to have Yahoo and Google find that data. If it's a public-facing report. If it's password protected, nothing we can do. How to integrate payments with applications. I actually like that topic. Let's see if we can bring that up. Reprioritize that. Let me just bring up my notepad here. Put it over here so I can take that note down. So payment integration, one of them. Okay. Recurring payments. How I wish we had recurring payments. Oh, how I wish we had that. Today we only have, we can integrate with PayPal, we can integrate with Stripe as a payment gateway, but it's a one-time payment. If you guys go to ideabox.caspio.com, I have definitely voted for this in the past, ideabox.caspio.com. Submit that idea here and let me know when you have, and I'll give it an upvote myself. I wish we had recurring payments as part of the offering. Maybe we can try something with Zapier. There might be a workaround doing it that way. I just wish that it was built into the platform. You know, if you're building an application that only processes the payment one time, then yes, you can take advantage of the payment gateways and integration, but more and more applications have recurring payment, especially on a SaaS front. If you're building a SaaS application, you want your customers to pay you monthly. And if they fail to pay, then you can deactivate their account. But I'm with you on that one. I have been wanting that for so long. Let's see, a customer login portal where they can see their past invoices, make a payment, etc. Okay. Customer portal, see invoices, make payment. Okay. That's something that I do with my my healthcare provider. I log in, I get my invoice, and I have to pay my co-payment and my deductible. So that's not a bad one. And that is actually a one-time payment, so maybe we can combine that with payment integration. So we can kill two birds with one stone. Or as my niece likes to say, let's pet two cats with one hand. It doesn't sound as vicious, you know. Okay, so these are good topics. I will definitely add them to my funnel to have available on the live stream. I don't know when exactly I'll be able to do payment and the customer portal with invoice, but probably in like 2 or 3 weeks we can add that into our upcoming live streams. All right, let me know if there are any more questions, comments, feedbacks before we wrap up today's live stream. Thank you guys so much for coming back. I appreciate your time. I always try to keep these live streams short, only because it's a Monday. I know we have things to do. But as you guys know, we never end up having short live streams. They end up going 1 hour most of the time. You did? Okay, wonderful. Can you email me the link? Just email me the link, okay? To it. Mehar, thank you so much. Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you guys next Monday, okay? Take care. Have a good day. Have a good rest of the week. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.